So this is my favorite panel because we can talk about whatever you want. That's awesome. We can talk about music, we can talk about my little fat prairie dog, we can talk about my wife. I don't live on an island anymore. I used to live on an island. You can ask me about some of my new shows, but some of them are a secret, so I need to talk about whatever they want to talk about. But there's some new ones coming out, and we're working on some things we're going to talk about. So I'll tell you what my favorite video game of the moment, which means like this hour, is. But yeah, I'll do like a dumb, boring introduction, and then I'll let y'all do the rest. Y'all can ask me whatever you want. So here you go. I'm also very ADD. You'll figure that out really quickly. So my name is Greg-Man. I'm a voice actor. Let's see, voice actor. I've done 8 years for writing. I'm also a DJ. I also do some production writing for television, jack of all trades, fanboy. I've been working in the anime industry for, it's creepy, 14 years now, which means this is the longest I've stayed at any job. I think my career, like my longest job before this was like 7.5 years, so I think this package is interesting. I started working for a little company in Texas called AD Films. At the time, we was the Microsoft of the anime industry. And I've been fortunate to work on some of my favorite titles in anime. I started, my first role was weird when I started sharing a role with Claudia Black from Farscape. And it was funny because when they called me and they're like, "This is really cool part for you. You're gonna share a role with Claudia Black from Farscape." I was like, "A really hot Australian lady? How is that going to work?" Let's see. This is not a spoiler because the show came out 15 years ago. So if you haven't seen it, shame on you. If you haven't, go see it on Arcade or watch it on Netflix or something. But basically, I played this very yaoi-ish little boy, a theme that would follow me my whole career. Tried to convince a little boy who has the giant-breasted angel robot to, which is funny because that would be another giant-breasted robot angel girl show later. But he tries to convince him to kill or turn off his robot, and when he won't do it, the little boy kisses him and turns into a giant, big-breasted, mean female robot. That's Claudia Black. Claudia Black. I was like, I get her name wrong. So the funny thing is, when I heard it originally, I was like, that girl I don't know anything alike. And then I saw the transformation scene, and I was like, interesting, yeah, we do. So I started in a little role in that show, and then the next role would be one of my favorite roles, playing Time Go Through in a show called Sayuki, which is like a year and a half of my life. And from there, I just started doing this full time. I was working in a law firm as an IT guy, a little computer guy. And it was funny because when we got laid off, it's the law firm I worked for, Davis represented this evil oil and gas company who, I cannot say their name, but it might rhyme with Wendlong. Anyway, when we all got laid off, it was funny because I was doing so much anime that I was going to have to quit my job because I was using vacation time and I was out, and there were still all these shows that I wanted to work on. So I already decided I was going to quit being a computer guy, and then we got laid off, and we're in this meeting where they're telling us that we're going to get 3 months pay, and like an extra $4,000 for not suing anybody, and I was thinking like, I get all this money and now I don't have to quit, and I can still make anime. Cool. Everybody else is freaking out like, what about our benefits? And I was like, cool, yeah. And it's the funny thing, my boss thought I was about to lose it. They thought I was going to be out of jail. And the funny thing is, the last thing I said on the way out the door, and it's so funny because I was just being cocky and I didn't think it would be true. Sorry, maybe the thing. But the last thing I said on the way out the door, I was like, be on TV. And the weird thing is, 1 or 2 of those people were like, I don't know if you know me, I used to work for a law firm. My daughter just loves Animinneapolis. I was like, oh my god, that's so creepy. Anyway, so I've been lucky enough to work on some fantastic shows. I'll name off some of my favorites. Don't freak out about this yours, because I've been in so many shows. My favorites and all of your favorites. Sayuki, I love working on. My brother's a director, by the way. My brother's a director and voice actor. He's the voice of Friesen and the Dragon Ball Z. But he directed me in the particular show called Miracle Icon Brothers. I love a weird musical. poor penguin. I know she doesn't talk. That's not a lot of recording time. You can do all of Penguin's lines in like 30 minutes. It's not good. But so many. I've done some fantastic shows for Funimation, Greg-Man-Wonderland, Samurai 7, Big Wind-Up. I've got a brand new show coming out called Carnival. This horrible cat burglar kid named Gareki. He's awesome. And then a new play an adult. There's a show called Yerman-Gun. I'm a sniper in that show. You get shot in the heart. So yeah, I get to do a lot of really fun things. One of my favorite shows back when I was only top spot. Just lots of stuff and shows and stuff. So that's it. That's the hard part. Now it's your turn. You ask me questions and I will give you answers. And if they're too dirty or too personal, I will lie. Yes.
All right. I was going through your autograph line yesterday. I mentioned a show you did called Number 6, and you said that you loved that show. Could you tell me what you loved playing that character, Shiana, and what you loved most about the show?
What I love the most about the show, that's the easiest one to say first, it is a fantastic story. Not only is it like a real Orwellian, like we said, dystopian type, creepy, evil corporate city versus the mad outer world of, survivors or whatever. I think the storyline of Number 6 is fantastic. I also like that it is a yaoi-ish show for people that are yaoi fans, but for non-yaoi fans, they can just kind of go, no, that's a broken. That's and I think it's got the most infectious opening and closing songs ever. You get stuck singing that little girly song in your head and so yeah, I love that. I think the thing I love the most about that character is I can't give anything away, but there's a transformation scene. I always saw pictures of Shion, and he was this really cool white-haired kid with these red marks all over, and I was like, wow, I don't know what's going on there, but I like that kid a lot. Like, he's cool looking, almost looks alien. And so I get casted that character, and I go in to start recording, and it looks like everyone else does. I'm like, why does he have black hair? Why does he look boring? And then we get to the scene where he transforms, and I was like, and I was so excited watching it, I didn't think of how much I was going to have to scream. I was like, yeah. So I love the look of that character. And I love, I think the thing I love the most is that character's innocence and naivety. Like, Water Rescue. I've heard of that show. I love my friends that know I'm at a convention, that know I'm probably at a panel, are like, how's the convention going? Like, well, it was interrupted by a lot of good text messages. But no, I love the fact that that character is able to stay innocent even when dealing with a character like Brad.
Yeah.
So not innocent. But I just love that show, and it's one of the shows that I don't think will ever get enough love. But I think that's what makes that show a gem too, because the people that do find it will just be like, oh, like it's so good. And then it's never going to be this squealy fan favorite, so you'll never hate the fandom, because the fandom will underground, which is cool. So, yeah, I love it.
You're welcome.
Who's got something else? Yes.
How much fun did you have playing that little kid in Ghost Story?
You know what? So bad. I just thought about that. I'm like, man, I didn't even mention Ghost Story. That's let me explain what that show is. If you've never heard of this show, it's so long. There was a show that came out in Japan a really long time ago called Ghost Stories in High School, and it's really tough. It's a horribly uninteresting, unfunny, weird show that sadly, Aniplex has spent a lot of money animating. It's beautifully animated. It's well done. The story is just goofy. It's just bad. And they couldn't sell it to anybody. Aniplex like, please buy this. Someone buy this. Please, someone buy this. And after no one in the industry seemed even remotely interested, they approached AV and they're like, look, we know this is a weird show. You can do whatever you want to. teaching, and so like we had to come up with rules. You can't do whatever you want. So just the premise of the show is based on Chinese and Japanese folklore. And we weren't allowed to change anything in the script. We had to roughly stick to the storyline, like, but we can make it better at times. We had to keep all the names correct. Most importantly is like if we were killing a spirit, we had to do it the same way as it's done because it's all based on legend. So when we changed the words and spells, if they were like Katabe, Katabe, go away, Katabe, Katabe, let us play, we would change it to something like Katabe, Katabe, kick the bucket, Katabe, Katabe, you can suck it. But most importantly, we were allowed to make fun of any and everything in the show. We make fun of each other. We make fun of Floyd. We make fun of. I was the one that started all this bad Christian Slayer jokes. Yeah, my character's watching this big parking garage about to collapse, and it reminds me when we were recording. It reminds me of that story that Christian Slater's character says to Heather's about how his mother died. And the way we made up the show as we went along. We had a rough outline, but we saw a place to put a joke in. The joke went in. When you have 13 actors doing that, what you get is about 3 million jokes an episode. But that's literally what it turned into. Well, so I was watching the scene, and I was like, I saw my character's mouth, and it was like, oh my God, hang on, run this back, let me try something. I don't know if I can do Leo's voice today, but it basically turned into, it basically turned into something like, this reminds me of a scene from Heather's. Remember when Christian Slater had a career? That joke never died. We can't make this one Christian Slater for the rest of the show. There's another episode where I'm watching these dead people get on the boat to go across the river Styx, and I was going like, trampoline, front tank, career. So, the coolest thing to know about those stories is when Monica Rial and I went to premiere that show at Otakon that year, and there was already a lot of internet justice happening. How dare anyone retell ghost stories in high school? It is a masterpiece. So you're like, this show is booty. I can't read you to watch the subtitle with the real subtitles on. So Monica and I went to Otakon and we actually got food when we were doing the premiere. And most actors would be like, Monica and I were like, a donkey. It was hysterical. The funny thing is, in less than 9 months, that show would find a cult audience, unlike anything since Rocky Horror. Like, that show is such a hardcore cult following. And that year we beat Full Metal Alchemist for Dove of the Year. So yeah, I'm real proud of that show. And the funny thing is, it was out of print. And the Japanese reclaimed the rights from the show, and then it became collector's items. It was like, you couldn't find it on the internet for under $150. It was really outrageous. Well, Discotech, who is a company that rescues old anime licenses, just rescued the license, and now you can buy that whole show for like $34. If you haven't seen it, I will warn you now, it is wrong, and it makes fun of everything that anyone finds sacred, but it is so funny. At one point, we claimed that Hillary was having a mixed baby. All this ridiculous stuff. They make fun of Chris Patton and I in the same episode. People let us know about that. You're like, this is so arrogant. I'm just Chris Patton. Don't come here. And that was the thing. You couldn't get butthurt about any jokes because even actors that are known for getting butthurt couldn't get butthurt because we're making fun of everybody. It's like South Park. You can't get butthurt. So yeah, I love those stories. Thank you for asking me about it. We originally had this idea that we wanted to retell it every 5 years. Or at least like the first 4 or 5 episodes. And a thank you to fans for giving it such a great loyal follow because one of the things we made, my character is Jewish. My character is Jewish. Monica Rial's character is like this holy roller evangelical, No, not lesbian. That's Hillary's mom's lesbian. Monica's character, what is that, yeah, but what is the name for it? Pentecostal. She's like a hardcore Pentecostal. So, like, the Jewish kid and the Pentecostal girl are always going at it. But the thing that was funnier to me is when we recorded the show, nobody knew Mel Gibson was such a creepy, anti-Semitic dude. So I was like, if we reach out this show, Mel Gibson's ass is mine.
What you sign on the back of
Yeah, on the back of all the new ones, I write, True Mel Gibson, Jews rock. Yeah, I signed one side, which is my name, and then signed the back with Leo, because Leo's so funny. So yeah, who's got another one? There is a fan. That's an easy way to get my attention.
Strangest line you've ever had to say in an anime?
Ooh, I can't say it here, because it's all a really dirty word that rhymes with runt. It's Animinneapolis. I play, like, I can't tell you what that character is, but basically it looks like my character is expecting from her. And he's using really graphic language. Okay, now here's the important thing to know. My mother is a Sunday school teacher.
Oh!
And she prepares her Sunday school lesson on Saturday night, which is when me and my punk rock buddies would get together and watch Animinneapolis. So we're all watching Animinneapolis, and my character says that line, and I was just like, I knew it was about to happen. My mom's like cutting out things in Sunday school, and I'm like, it happens, and my mom goes, well, look at you all grown up. It made that way worse. You're just like, wow, I can't believe you just said that. But she's real cool about it. So, it's so weird. It's just like, there's no weirdest line. I work in anime. I sing a song in Everybody Property called My Tingly Lips. Every day is a weird day when you work in anime. So, like, the best thing about the Tingly Lips song is, this is so weird. So, Rita Valencia was the music director for Funimation when we were working on Telephone Properties. And Zach Bolton was asking her if she could finish recording, I'm going to use cuter terms that they use, but the booty song in the panty. He said, have y'all finished the booty song in the panty show? And she's like, oh no, we haven't, because we haven't gotten the message from Japan. Brittany doesn't come in for another day. I said, Brittany, what are you talking about? She goes, the song in some other band show. He goes, no, I'm talking about property. She goes, I think it's funny that there's two movie songs and two different band shows. But that's what it's like to work in anime. It's always at the last minute. It's always interesting. But yeah, we've got yes.
What about the favorite outtake or blooper? Remember that?
Oh man, Monica and I are the king of not getting in a blooper reel because we both have potty mouths. Often, we have very rarely in the blooper reel. That said, there's a blooper reel that, man, which one can I tell? Okay, it's not my blooper. It's the funniest blooper and you'll never hear it, so I'll tell you the story. Sean Pease, who is my other half in Carlisle and my other half in Big Windup, he was working on Dragon Ball Z. If you know Michael Pease's voice, it's a very sweet, very childish voice. Well, they fight all the time in Dragon Ball Z. So you have to sound mad. And the director was having a really hard time making him sound mad. The other thing to note is Sean is very good, and he's like this wholesome, like, I don't cuss, I'm not mean to anyone, I'm just a good person, like, very, like, family values dude. So, he's like, I think the line was, the guy's like, well, good luck beating me, and Sean's character's like, this doesn't have anything to do with luck. I had to fight every step of the way to get here. And so, the way the line would sound, he'd be like, he doesn't have anything to do with luck. I had to fight every step. Like, no, you're in a fight. He's like, sound angry. Okay. No. I labored over this line for almost an hour. Finally, Chris Bevins says, and I can't tell you the word, but it rhymes with trucker. Look, I want you to sound like you ended every sentence with the word trucker so that you're mad. And so he goes, oh, okay. Well, it doesn't have anything to do with trucker. Oh, God. I'm so hearing him scream after he said that word, he couldn't believe it had come out of his mouth. Oh, God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Every time I'm in a bad mood, I can think about that, and it kind of picks me up a little bit. My bloopers don't ever make me laugh, because they're not funny, because I did them, but other people's bloopers have me, like, almost sweating myself. It's so funny to hear. Because that's the thing. When you mess up, you know what it sounds like when you mess up. It's funny to hear Monica go, like, being Hello Kitty voice and say crap. So, yeah. So, everybody else's bloopers, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yes, it's a whole ghost story. Anything funny enough to put in that show. Anything that you thought could make anybody laugh. So, yeah. That's a ghost story. Yeah.
Aside from ghost stories, have you had any other opportunities to do some impromptu shows?
There's this thing that we do on a regular basis called whoo. Basically, when you have a scene where there's like background noise, that's actually people talking. And we have to do that all the time. So on a show, let's say I just did a show that I can't say the name of, where I had like a secondary. He's not the lead, but he's a secondary lead. And so I got done recording like 4 hours early. And so they're like, okay, well there's a bunch of kids in classrooms, let's get you to do all that stuff. Well, so the best thing is you can say almost anything in the background, because nobody's going to ever hear it. And so like, Jason Douglas, if he has to do Walla for too long, will always talk about a monkey in a bucket at some point. My brother will always end up talking about food. And like, I always slip in my friends' names in the background just in case they can hear it, like, you know, like it's always like slowly trickled into the background. But it's just kind of worded most scientific Walla from one of my directors because my fiance is a scientist, so I know I live with scientific terms every day of my life. And there was this marking in the script that says intense science lab Walla. And I was like, yeah. So Emily Dees was my director. She's a fantastic actress. She just started directing for some time more. Really just brilliant lady. She goes, you don't need a scientific wall? I was like, hell yeah, I want to do this. So like it started, I can't do my little voice because I'm jacked right now, but the first thing I said is, hey, could you hand me that micropipette? Which is, like if you work in the lab, you know what that is? She goes, did you just say micropipette in a scientific lab wall? I was like, yeah. She goes, actual science, like science wall? I was like, yeah, I was going to talk about calibrating a GPMS too. And she said, go. Funny, because she said, she promised me my wall would be pushed to the front. She was actually kind of know what we're doing. And then I had to break my arm. Oh, let me not say so yeah, so that's probably the only time ever we get to improv, is just when I have to do stuff in the background. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. There's some crowd walls that go on for like 2 minutes, and you are talking to yourself. That sounds real easy when you say it in your head. Try to do it out loud for 2 minutes and not sound like a lunatic. It's really tough. What I do sometimes is I'll listen to what other people are doing and just answer them. Like, they're like, yeah, this is crazy here. Yeah, that's right. And I'll just like play off of whatever they say, but like, that's about the most important to improv. Normally, everything we do is really heavily scripted and we have to stick to it. So, but yeah, who's got it? Wait, let me refresh. Right? I have so many drinks. Yeah.
How did it feel to be Todd Habercorn's twins?
Ooh.
Man, that's a loaded question. We hated it, actually, both of them. And I'll tell you why. The twins are a really interesting problem as an actor because they have to talk at the exact same time. And they have to talk alike. No two people talk alike. In life. I mean, that's what makes all this interesting, weird, and unique. So the way Todd says, how's it going, is not the same way I say how's it going. Todd goes, having at it. I go, how's it going? Well, so neither one of those sounds normal to the other one. So whoever got in first decided how everything sounded. So it was like a race to get in to record first. So we're just a parrot, the whole, because whoever got in first, you just had to listen to them and repeat it like a parrot. So the cool thing is, people have all these misconceptions about Moron, like, oh yeah, Greg, you're hates Moron. I openly say I didn't enjoy recording that show. It was very hard, it was very frustrating. The neat thing about doing it that way, though, is it made it fun to watch. If it was horrible to record, and you're like, I just want the session to be over, then when you see the show and it actually worked, and it was funny, then you're like, oh, okay, that's worth it. But it wasn't fun. Anyway, I have to tell you, I like to play it on my phone a lot during the recording. I'm like, nobody would ever want to have to mock someone else's work. It's just not normal for that. Yeah, and that's where I'll stop that answer. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, oh, giant sword, perfect.
Aside that, actually, but anyway,
Right, yes.
has there been any role that you power that your employer company actually has the right, you actually just wanted to jump in to...
Yeah, that. I would like that about that. I absolutely want to work on that. And here's the weird thing. I met this Japanese director, Osamu Kobayashi, at Animinneapolis. And he absolutely, like I said, I work for a company that I think has the right to your show. And through the interpreter, he basically said, yeah, you do, and you better audition for the show. And you can't play the doll. So there's exact words. And I go, oh, why not? That's awesome dope. And he goes, and I was like wearing a Ramon shirt, and I had like an Ava side bag, and like torn up jeans. He was just like, that's why you can't play the dog. And from that moment on, the director said he already decided I would play Koyu. Like, I didn't even have to audition for that role. Because he knew I could sing. I just recorded an album with a bunch of voice actors that had recorded an album for charity. So he already knew I could sing. The funny thing is they never told me that. He sweated out till the last second as to whether I was going to get in that show. And I almost didn't audition for Nebula because of that. Because that's not as funny as that role. It's the rule. You can only have one lead in a show at a time. Given the choice between Nebula and Beck, sorry, Maggie. Sorry, girls. I wanted to do Beck really bad. And so Colleen told me one day, she goes, I need you to work on the bridge. So I was like, why? And she goes, you just sound very young and very British. I go, oh, Negima? I was like, I'm not going to audition for that. She was like, because actors never say that. Actors are like, I want to be in everything. I want to lead, you know. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And she's like, why? And the problem is, when you have to cast somebody that sounds 9, there's only like this many people that can sound 9. So she is pretty much like, I think you're going to probably play this guy. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And she goes, why? And I was like, because I really want to work on Beck, and I can't have 2 leads. And that's the only part in your show is the lead. And she goes, well, you just work on your accent, and I will work on the other parts. And I was like, are you sure? She goes, I promise you. So, like, I came in, and actually the funny thing about Betty is we had to fix the accent we decided. The original accent was going to be Welsh, and it didn't sound right. And the worst thing is, the first group of people I showed Betty to was in England.
Oh!
So, my British accent to a group of people in the UK, where my character is Welsh, and I'm not using a Welsh accent, which I'm like, oh my god. The first person to come up to my autograph table was a Welsh guy.
Oh!
He goes, what's the matter? You didn't want to make it to sound drunk. Yeah, he goes, well, on behalf of the Welsh community. So, Beck is one of those shows, and I'm not going to say who, but I have begged both companies I work for to try to get the rights to a show called Pupa, which is so gross. I won't even explain it. It's very zombie-ish, so if you're a zombie fan, but gross and creepy, and I was like, somebody has to get pupa. So I'm trying. I hope that I get to audition for pupa, whoever gets it. But yeah, there's several roles like that. You can't be too thirsty for roles. It's like a perfect, for instance, if I'm looking in front of me and saying Attack on Titan, by the way. There's a lot of the older veteran actors that weren't even allowed to audition for Attack on Titan. Not straight up not allowed to audition. Funimation decided they wanted new voices and whatnot, and I didn't agree with it. I think it's BS. But that's their choice, and that's the industry I work in. You don't always get to audition for everything you want. So like, if you get in your heart, like if somebody's like, hey, you should really listen to Character named Armin and Attack on Titan, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. If I fell in love with that role, then I get butthurt. Even though it went to a friend of mine, like I would get butthurt about not being allowed to audition. I was like, what do you mean? So I try not to get super thirsty about roles because it'll backfire. So I just kind of like, who am I playing today? Like I just go in. I'm always a little pointy hair kid. So I'm okay with that. Some days I'm a pointy hair kid in real life. So. Nick. No, not Nick. Oh my God. I'll use my Nick thing. I'm so sorry. So, before I make a bigger ass of it. Yes.
Alright, so it sounds like some of the characters you played.
Hachi.
He wasn't a lot of other characters, but he was much more quiet than
Yeah. Oh, he's one of my faves.
strict values and so on. Much of that's alive.
Yeah.
How do you handle that problem?
The most interesting thing, once I tell you if you're a Samurai 7 fan, you will never, I apologize now, you'll never be able to unhear this. Heihachi is lovable, but he's kind of a wise ass. Like, he's always one to go, you know you're doing it wrong, right? Like, he's a kid that'll always be like, well, if you're smart, you do it this way. So I had to figure out how to make a wise ass lovable. I was like, because he's kind of the cuddliest of all the samurai, because he's so, like, you know, has these strong beliefs or whatever. And we were watching Clerks, and I heard Randall, and I was like, you are the most lovable jackass ever. So if you listen to what I do with my voice, it's modeled after Randall from Clerks. And specifically in the scene where he goes, think about the right. It's absolutely me doing my impersonation of Randall. Because I had to find some way to make, the thing about Heihachi is he's such an important character because, and this is something that I'm not going to spoil anything, but at the end of that story, that character never strips 1 ounce of his shoulders, which is rare for a character in battle. He doesn't believe you should raise your sword to anyone except the narrator, which he almost says that. But he doesn't believe his sword should be used for killing. And even in one of the big final battles, he's using his sword to destroy the airship that will eventually kill everyone, but he's not raising his sword to its goal. So, like, you have to make a character like that so real and so three-dimensional that you can't animate. You can't, oh, what are you doing? Like, you have, that character has to be so three-dimensional that I did a lot, like, Chris Evans, who directed that, is such a fantastic director. He's never directed anything horribly. And he and I really fought hard to make Heihachi and Tachiro, specifically those 2 characters, lovable and logical and all those things. So it was a breath of fresh air. It was like working on Beck because I'm so used to playing characters like Tomoki and everything about property. Like little things, you know, like to play somebody that's like, huh, think about this. You know, like that's neat to have somebody that's more realistic. So I don't know if it was so much of a challenge as it was a weighty, meaty role to, you know, take my teeth into. It made it really cool. I loved it. It's great. Thank you for asking me. That's one of my favorite shows. That's what when I have to name off all my favorite shows, I always leave out my favorite shows. I'm like, I know I did Dance of it. Okay, I did. Okay. Oh my God, give me tripod. There you go. It's smart though. Somebody's got a microphone. Like people try to lift up things. Yeah.
Alright, so we talked about another a little bit ago.
Yeah, another favorite.
When I first watched it, I didn't know you were in it at all.
Yeah.
And you know, most of my teenagers and comic relief stuff, funny characters.
Totally.
But you know, in that one you play Steve, you play a very serious character.
Yeah.
So my question was, were there any other roles like that you had?
Oh, I've done tons of straight roles. Zach, my character Zach is just like Taki Kabara. He's very low key. I'm trying to think now. Some of my more Daybreaker-ish, culture of English. Some of my more serious roles. I think even though Chromos per se is comical, I think that there's many serious moments in that show. Hey, Hashi and Sam Seven's another. That shit never has a laughing line. If it is, he's just being ironic.
Broken Blade.
Broken Blade. Oh yeah, Ryder Arrow. Yeah, Broken Blade is another. He's like the reluctant hero of the story. Stephen King Dynamo. Even my character Angel B. Is less of a jackass. He's a very normal, like he's not a happy guy. He's actually a very angry little guy. I like playing this character. You can't always play the same thing. That's the nice thing. Once in a blue moon, the director will say, the first time I worked with Eric Biddle, you can tell I was DJ last night. First time I worked with Eric Biddle, Eric had never worked with me, and he had me coming in for a bit role on Detective Solomon Takes Clothes. And it was a person with a mustache. And I was like, that looks like an adult. And he goes, yeah. And I go, I normally play little kids. And he said, and with his great bluff, he goes, I want to give it a shot. I'm like, no, I'll do this. But, so, Legend of Blue Moon, the director will force you, challenge you to be more than you're used to being, and that's the coolest thing about being an actor. As a fanboy, I have a huge honor to say I got to work with Carl Mason before he died, and got to be really good friends with, the dude that created Robotech, for God's sake. And he's another one like that. He had me play this giant blue ogre in a show, and I was like, Carl, that's a big dude. He goes, yeah, he's ogre, it's okay. And I was like, I have a little bitty voice. He goes, well, it says just scream really loud. It sounds like, okay, here we go. So once in a blue moon, you have a director that'll make you do things that are interesting and push your voice, and that's the best. That's the very best. So yeah, I love yes, look, I love it. Like put something in my hand. Yes.
Of the Japanese animes that are in Japan, do you have any roles you would like to play?
That is always a tough answer because I'm going to say something will upset 50% of the room. I don't watch anything illegally, ever. I'm a huge supporter of the actual anime industry, and watching anything downloaded to me is like ripping off somebody I respect, so I can't do that. That said, there's a lot of legal streaming media, and there's a lot of trailers that you can watch online. Like I said, there's a show called Pupa. It is so disgusting. But I'm a horror movie and zombie video game fanatic, so why wouldn't I want to be in a zombie show? I got to be in high school as dead, but I mean, that much. I call somebody on the phone, and that's it. So, and there's the perfect role for the character is a boy whose skin regenerates if it's cut or eaten, and his sister may or may not be zombie-ish, and she has to eat flesh to survive. And he may or may not let his sister eat parts of his arms and whatnot to survive. Yeah, I said gross. So, I saw the trailer for that, and the trailer is terrifying. It's classical music with her just saying the word brother in Japanese, and these horrible, crunchy, icky, eaty sounds. And while there's beautiful classical music, and her saying brother, you're seeing bloody stuff on the screen. I'm like, what is this show? So I may have been off, no pun intended, I may have been off because I have not seen any of the shows, and again, I don't watch anything ahead of time. And it's unfair to your director in some cases to watch ahead of a show, because many shows I play people that die. You should never know that your character is going to die, ever. Because then when you have to die, you're going to be like, oh, but if you're like, if you don't know, you're like, oh my god, am I gonna die right? If I die right here, like, that's awesome because then it's natural and perfect. So like, I hope I get to work on the 3D show. I have no idea what it will entail. I try not to get ahead of myself, and I try not to look too far into the future because ultimately I don't decide what I can audition for and what I can't. So I just have to. Steve Bloom, who I absolutely adore and is one of my favorite people in this industry, who I look up to a great deal, had this really neat post where he said, this is an industry that is based on being grateful. And you have to just be grateful for the good works that you get and not always want more. And so, he and Bob Bergen both have similar ideas on that. And so, I try to approach the day that way, like, I could be bummed that I didn't get to work on Attack on Titan, or, I wish I could talk about this other show too. But I could also be very grateful that I'm getting to play this horrible, awful villain in another show. So, you just have to like what you get, you have to like the work you get, and you have to be grateful for every little bit of work you do, because it's all interesting and fun, so. I don't even know, are we out of time? I'm keep talking until somebody tells me to get out of the room. Yes.
Stacy is my favorite anime.
Thank you, that's awesome.
What is your favorite line that you got to say in Philippines?
It made you scream, I think, honestly, and it scared everyone except Monica and I. Episode 23, go to this is how dirty I am, maybe episode. We send Gojo out to get food, and like Gojo, there's a woman, and he gets distracted, and he starts to bring up food. Well, my character is always hungry, he's always wanting about food. Well, this hot mama that he's following turns into this giant evil bee lady who tries to kill him, and we have to rescue him. We all come in and rescue him. Well, the rest of the Sanzo party all have like heroic lines, like Sanzo's like, you think my boy, you shoot. And like Raiden comes in and goes, I don't think you want to do that. And Goku comes in and goes, where's my dinner? I forgot it because we recorded it and we recorded so fast. And I was watching the DVD on a plane on the way to a convention, and Monica said it was like, get it silent on the plane. And all of a sudden, like, ha ha ha, it's really loud, and she said it was the weirdest thing that she said ever. But luckily, my brother just watched a horror movie, and I got to watch my brother do the same thing. I was actually on the way home from pizza, or my brother watched some scary movie. And I was sitting there just like, some of those nights, like, they turned the lights off and everything, and I was everyone around it. Yeah, I love that show. I was really excited that we got to go back and do the prequel guidance. So if you get a chance, definitely, if you haven't seen it, I'll warn you, it's a pretty hanky experience. You're going to cry a lot watching the guidance, but it's worth it. But, yeah, it's over there.
Has there been any anime or voice work that you've done that made you really emotional? Like any specific experience?
Oh, lots of them. I get really emotional over lots of them. If you listen really carefully, which this is something that no one can ever get me to do on stage. I was a stage actor. I've done tons of those stage plays. In fact, I just posted a picture of me playing Francis Burger in the Rocky Horror Show. I played Frank and Rick in that show, so I love that. But like, anytime I've ever had to cry on stage, I know how to make my eyes water, and I know how to make all the facial expressions of crying, but I'm not like a method actor. I don't believe you should cry because the person's crying. It's called acting. You're not supposed to be, like, there are several actors that have taken that method route, and it's gotten really dangerous. Heath Ledger is a bad, good, bad example of that. But, so nobody's ever been able to make me cry on stage. People are always like, you cried tonight, didn't you? I'm like, no, I held my eyes open until it started watering. So, if you listen carefully, I am crying at the end of Chrono Trigger. You can hear my voice shaking at the very end. I had never seen the last scene. I was seeing it for the first time as I was recording it.
Aww.
Oh my God, what's going on? Like, it was this earth-shattering experience to see that happen live. I was like, and my director, Matt Reedfield, who's the director, the original director of Evangelion, was like, classic anime director. After we recorded it, he got the perfect one of me, like, getting all, tear jerky. He goes, well, we can record that one again, but I think that one's pretty good. He knew he'd never, ever have that moment ever again. That was the perfect take, so he was looking at it. My last scene in Samurai 7 didn't affect me at all until I watched the show. Because the most tear-jerking moment of my character has nothing to do with him. They find something that belongs to him later. And it's, without saying too much, that thing that they find usually is making a weird face. When they find it, it has no face. And when it happened, when I was watching it, I was just like, this is horrible. So yeah, I always get really emotionally wrapped up into stuff that I work on. But sometimes I don't necessarily get on a week to give a clue. Now there are people like Carly Moser, who's a very good friend of mine, who plays my mother in a show called Colorful, which is a very sad show. But very uplifting for such a dark show. It starts with my character committing suicide.
Oh.
Yeah, happy show. Where it starts that dark, it's got such a positive, uplifting message at the end. But Carly's character cries, I would say 90% of the show. And Chris, my brother, would say she was going to be wrecked after a session. She was like, hang on just a second, like she couldn't just walk out of the booth because she was really crying. So every actor is a little different on that. Some of us actually cry, some of us just make the sound of crying. So it's called voice acting. As long as it sounds like I'm crying, that's all that counts. I don't always have to turn on the tear gas. So who's got another question?
I know you mentioned like with Nick, so you didn't like to use his voice to
It hurt bad.
so are there any roles that you like not to really use his voice from like how it turned out?
Dude, that's a really interesting question because all of us have roles that we make. None of us will ever talk to those roles. Because the show that you don't like may always be somebody's favorite show. And a perfect example, I did this show, and I don't even hate this show, I just think it's weirdly, cheaply animated. There's a show called Saving Lollipop that we did for Funimation. Ooh, it looks like they spent like $1,000 on that show. They had a nice, quick, reused animation over and over. There's a chase scene with Monica and I on this like mechanical owl, and they used the same under the bridge like 3 times. And I'm like, is this like some bad flashback? What is this? And they're like, no, it's cheap. And like, and the director, luckily Chris Casey was our director. Chris Casey could make a dog laugh. Chris Casey was funny. And but as much as we thought that show didn't have a lot of me, I probably signed 400 copies of that show at least. So there are people that like everything, and I didn't even dislike that show because working with Chris Casey is always fun. You're never gonna, when you have a director that makes you laugh, you never are mad going to work. You're like, well, if I don't like this show, I'm gonna laugh my butt off all day long. So most of us don't cop the shows we don't like because we know it might be somebody's favorite. And that's what sucks about all the phony rumors about me hating Waron, because I don't. And I know there are people that love Waron, that love it. Caitlin Glass was married that show, she could have. She loved that story. I love that it's helping my voice is changing. Man, why can't I use this under the food? Why can't I just squeeze in my voice when I'm working? But, no, you don't ever want somebody to think you don't like something, because then that makes them feel weird about liking it. So, like, it's hard. It's easy to talk about what hurts. I know what hurts, like, Maggie hurts. Another one that wasn't hard on my voice stretch-wise was Ragnarok, the Ragnarok the animation. Both Carrie and I, like, almost had one vocal rest after that show. Not because it's anything we had to do with our voice, it's that we were always fighting. So we're always screaming. The whole end of that show was just screaming for hours. And I was like, I actually coughed up blood after one of those sessions. I was like, and here's the word, it was right before my One Piece audition. I'm like, oh, great. Awesome. But, sometimes it's just what the role calls for. And you can try as you might, but like, my character Gant gets set on fire at one point. How do you use fake? being set on fire. There's no way to make that sound without just screaming your head off. And I had to do that take. If you see it, he screams for almost 2 minutes straight on fire. I had to do that take like 16 or 17 times. And like, Tiffany Grant was in the room while we were recording and she kept like, it hurt her to listen to it. But some things are just tough because of the demand of the role. But I mean, that's kind of why some of us act. Like, my favorite moment in Greg-Man-Wonderland is you don't even see my character on screen. It's when they force him to watch Carnival Corpse, and at the end of the episode, you just hear him screaming uncontrollably because of what he's having to do, like when he's watching. Hearing that scream hurts. I'm like, ooh, ugh. But it sounds awesome. So like, I love being pushed to the limits like that because it always sounds awesome. This guy on the other line making annoying sounds with the microphone. Yes, Monster Can.
So you've been in a lot of anime with extreme subject matter.
Yes, definitely.
Have there ever been anime that you turned down because of the subject matter?
Never. Here's why. I'm an actor. I know a lot of people get on a high horse and say, well, I will never condone. I'm not condoning anything by voicing a character. I'm an actor, and if I didn't do that role, somebody else will. That doesn't mean there's not been shows I've worked on that I felt goofed out about. I did a show called Dance in the Vampire Park.
Oh.
When I talk about extreme subject matter, but my character has nothing to do with that. In fact, my character is really, it's neat because I don't think I can say the director's name, because a lot of people took their name off the project and they were scared. Monica Rial and I said, why take our names off? Everybody knows what our voices sound like. Even if you make up some goofy name, like, that's Monica Rial, that's Greg Air. So, like, we agreed to put our name on it, but the director was so cool because when I went into audition for that show, there are a bunch of characters I could play because it's a bunch of high school kids. And the director was really cool. He goes, I go, what do you want me to read for? I go, there's a lot. There's like 5 or 6 different guys I can read. He goes, can I just tell you what I need? And I go, yeah, sure. He goes, I have a role that is very tiny that most actors wouldn't even want because it's only going to be so many hours. He goes, I don't know anyone else in this world that can play a character like you. And I was like, okay, tell me more. And he starts describing this character called Hikosaka, which is this little runty kid who, when you first meet him, he's just getting just the shit pounded out of him. And somebody convinces him that if he's a vampire, he will never have that happen to him. And then the next time you see him, he's like tossing people in the air and flipping out, like making everybody pay for what he did to him, not knowing there's a pecking order that vampires do. And they slam his face on the desk and break his beater bang, and he realizes that no matter where he goes in life, people will always stumble. Like, he makes this horrible discovery that people are bad and blah, blah, blah. And then you don't see that character for a very long time. And this is not a spoiler, because this character did not be in the story, and it would matter. He's really inconsequential to the story. The next time you see him, the vampires are triggered with this thing they can activate on their phones, but they just explode. And the next time you see him, he's boarding a crowded subway. And you know exactly what's about to go down. And the character runs in. Eric Vale played that character. And there's this fantastic scene where he's begging him not to kill himself. He's like, you don't understand. And my character has this whole thing about, you're wrong. People are horrible. No matter how much you love, you'll always be stood on. Blah, 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 blah. And Eric's character's like, no. He goes, and then my character has this like heartbreaking last line because Eric's character tried to be nice to him at the very end, and he goes, at least I have one friend. And that's it. And I was like, yeah, I want to read that character. Yeah, let's do that one. The cool thing about being an actor that doesn't care how big the role is, but how cool it is, I'm not in any of the creepy, kid-touching parts of that show. So, like, I'm just a suicide bomber, you know? And that's ironically not controversial. But the worst thing about it for us as actors, we were told that the sexual side of that show was going to be played down. Then when the box art came out, and it's got this little girl in her underwear sucking her finger, I was like, what? I'm so glad I played that little kid. So, okay, thank you. Yay, somebody's keeping track of time. Thank you, bye. So, that's a Peter thing, when they call places for a show, they're like,
Thank you,
thanks,
places.
10, yeah, thanks, 15.
Thank you,
Thanks,
places.
bye. So we've got time for like one more good question and then a goodbye before I do.
Aw.
Oh, I gotta tell you about something really cool that's gonna go on. It's 4 o'clock, right, Julie?
Yeah.
4 o'clock and what?
So next room over, panel.
Next year over. This is my friend Kaylee. She's also a staff member. She, everybody say hi, man.
Hi.
Kaylee did a documentary on bullying within the within the cosplay community, and she drove all the way to Texas and interviewed me and a bunch of people at Animinneapolis, and we're going to show it for the first time next door at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, and we're going to do a little panel, and she's going to, and it'll be the first time I get to see it too. So after this last question, I'll see y'all over there in a little bit. So who's got the last one? Green thing here. I don't know what it is, but it's what dinosaur. Oh, dinosaurs always win. Yes.
Do you ever go in to record and you got like a cold or something?
Yes.
And
Like now.
then you hear it later, it's like, oh yeah, I totally had a cold or I just had a flu.
Yeah. I'll tell you the cure for that because we just found there's this stuff called health shoes that we use now. There's some workarounds we use, but like when I started my role in Full Metal Panic, Shinji Cosmo, I got no sick. I like had a voice very similar to this, so my voice is uber scratchy at the beginning of that show. I would have to go and scream outside before I start working on future episodes just so that it would sound raspy and similar. That said, if you ever, and I can't spell it for you, but you can find it on the internet, we just discovered this Chinese herb. It's like a syrup called Yin Jiang Pickle Bok. And I know, remember that if you can. And the guy that plays the Hulk in all the new animated, superhero stuff, he just literally screams for hours on end. It's a eucalyptus and something mint syrup, and you drink that. Now, you obviously shouldn't abuse your throat, but if you have to work miracles quick, that is the most fantastic stuff I've ever put in my mouth. Surprisingly well-working remedies I've ever used. Because actors have to be really careful. There's this gross, awful stuff that you should never put in your throat called chloroseptic that numbs your vocal cords. It is a bad idea to numb a part of your body that you can damage. And there are actors that have destroyed their throats by just drinking chloroseptic and screaming when their voice was telling them to stop. So the Yin Jiang doesn't do that. It just coats your throat and makes kind of soothe an irritated throat. And then there's other stuff we use called fart juice. And it was actually recommended by a doctor. It's a pint of orange juice with 2 tablespoons of local honey and 2 tablespoons of organic apple cider vinegar. Oh, it tastes like death. I got pneumonia when I was working on a musical, and I did kind of understudies, and I had to sing Cat Calloway's Minnie the Butcher every night on stage, and that's a really high song. I drank that every day, every hour on the hour, and I didn't talk, and I lip synced. The rest of the show, I didn't sing anything but that song, but every single night I was able to sing that song. So, because you use your voice, you have to learn all these weird tricks, but that's what they are, the tricks. You have to also take care of yourself, too. That's why many lubricants in front of me, eating coffee with juice. This beet juice is awesome, by the way. Nature's Berry Minty. Another product endorsement. Anyway, and then you give me free stuff. I keep talking about it. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I'm sorry we ran out of time. This is my favorite and really